So now we see the next one. So in the last video we saw the meristematic tissues, which were the apical and the cambium. And now the permanent tissues, we saw the protective, now we go for the supportive tissue. Now supportive tissue are of several types. The three most important ones are parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So we can see over here that protective kind are of three kinds. One is the one which is parenchyma. The second one over here is going to be as collenchyma. And third one is nothing but sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma. Okay, so these are the three kinds of the supportive tissues. Let's go through each one of them one by one. The first one is parenchyma. Now, parenchyma are the one which are normally said to be helping in the storage of food. Okay, normally. So that is a general thing. Wherever you read the part parenchyma, you can understand it to be as connected to some storage thing, plus it is living. So that's the main thing about parenchyma. So large thin walled cell, oval, circular or polygonal in shape. So the first thing about it is that it is large, it has got thin walls, oval or circular or maybe polygonal in shape. Usually a single large vacuole is present in it. So normally the parenchyma cells will have a vacuole, and that too a single large one. Okay, so there will be a single large vacuole present in it. It is found in the soft parts of the plants, such as in the cortex, the outer region. Cortex is the outer region of the plant, and in the pith, that is the central region. So in the two parts, that is the central region and the outer region, these are the two areas where the parenchyma cells are available, parenchyma tissues are available. May store food as in potato and provide temporary support to the plant. So the vacuoles which are present inside this particular parenchyma are the one which are going to help it to become flaccid or turgid. If the vacuole is full of water, then it will become, the whole plant will become turgid, that means blossom. And if the water content in the vacuole is less, means the vacuole is empty, then the whole plant droops, that is flaccid. So that is about parenchyma. So some parenchymatous cells, particularly in leaf containing chloroplast, are termed parenchyma. So if the parenchyma cells contains chlorophyll in them, that is chloroplast in them, then they are called as chlorenchyma, because they are chlor, which is green in color. Chloro means green, that's why it is chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma helps the leaf to produce food by photosynthesis. So parenchyma cells, in case if it is having chloroplast in them, means chlorophyll in them, that means it is going to be helpful for the plant to produce food by photosynthesis. So that was parenchyma, the first type of supportive tissue. The next is collenchyma. Collen means glue, so that is the one which is going to help to adhere to each other. So made up of cells which are elongated, and cell wall is thickened at the corners. So the cell, what happens is it is just getting stretched, elongated and thickened at the corners. It is found in the leaf stalks, okay, leaf stalks, and below the epidermis of the stem. So stem अगर रहेगा तो उसके अंदर के साइड पे epidermis के अंदर, that is the just under the skin of the stem. These collenchyma kind of tissues, that is on the leaf stalks or below the epidermis of the stem. The tissue helps to support the parts of the plant. So main thing is it says it's a supportive kind of a tissue. So collenchyma is used as a supportive. The next one is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma composes of long narrow cells which are become dead. So sclerenchyma are the one which are supporting, but this kind of support is in such a way that they are already dead cells. So these are dead cells, and these are composed of long narrow cells which are become dead. These cells develop very thin the walls due to the deposition of lignin. Now, when the cell dies, they are going to the cytoplasm of that particular cell is going to start going to the sides, and there will be a formation of lignin on the walls of the cell over there. So that the formation of this or developing of the deposition of the lignin on the sides of the cell is going to take place, and this tissue provides strength to plant parts. So plant parts are going to become stronger, and they are going to become more strength will be obtained by the sclerenchyma. It is found in the stems and the veins of the leaves. So you can see the veins of the leaves because veins, they are making that particular leaf go be upright. ऐसा नहीं कि वो पूरा गिर जाएगा. So it is not so flexible, it is quite turgid. So that turgidity of the leaf is going to be attained because the veins have got this sclerenchyma cells which are giving support to its shape. So that's why it is found in the stem and veins of the leaves. Okay, so these were the three supportive tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So the above three categories, namely parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma, are grouped as simple tissues, each being made up of one type of cell. There is something which is called as fibers and stones. So ropes, mats and certain textiles are made from plant fibers such as those of linen and hemp. These fibers are the sclerenchyma cells. So the sclerenchyma cells are the one which are helping us to make the ropes, the linen cloth. All these are because of the sclerenchyma which is present in the plant, which we are able to use it as a thread or for making the fiber. The hard walnut shell and the gritty mass in the skin and the pulp of pear are made up of sclerenchyma cells, here known as the stone cells. See, you will say there that in case of walnut, the upper part is completely so hard that it's really very difficult to break it. So that particular hard shell is because of this sclerenchyma. So, and then in such a case, when it is going to be forming such kind of a hard coating on top, then we call them as stones. So the sclerenchyma can be of two kinds. One is the fibers, which is forming the hemp or the linen material, and another is a stone which is forming the hard crust of the walnut. Now we see the next part, that is the conductive tissue. So conductive tissues. The conductive tissues are called the vascular tissues, providing a passage for water and dissolved material to move up and down in the plants. The xylem and phloem are the two types of conductive tissues. So the conductive tissues are the one which are going to be the one which are vascular bundles. Why vascular bundle? Because the blood, they are the vessels. They are the vessels through which the food which is being produced by the plant and the water which is intaken by the roots is going to travel up and down the whole plant. So this movement of the water from down to up and the food from up to down is going to take place with the help of these conductive tissues called as the vascular bundles. So they are of two kinds. The first one over here is the xylem, and the next one over here is phloem. So the xylem and the phloem are the two types of the conductive tissues. So these are the different kinds of conductive tissues of plants, what we saw. So let's see how does the xylem, or what are the different parts of the xylem. Xylem cells are elongated and thick-walled. These cells are somewhat in the form of tubular passage. They provide for upward movement of water, dissolved material absorbed from the soil by the root to other parts of the plant. Older xylem, that is the xylowood tissue, forms the wood and does not participate in transport. So we see over here that xylem tissues, they are going to be the one which is going to be, cell will be elongated, elongated, thick-walled, and it will be such that it is forming a passage for the water to go upwards. And this is only for a temporary period, a short a period of some few years, and then they are going to come up with some new xylem fibers, and the older ones will be the one which will be there, present over there, but they no longer transport the water. So that's why they say older xylem tissue, that is the wood part, forms the wood and does not participate in the transport. You can determine the age of a tree by counting its annual rings, which actually are the xylem rings. So each and every year, maybe you can say some plants it is 1 year, some plants they 5 years, depending upon the life of the total plant. कितने साल तक वो ट्री जिंदा रहता है, तो उसके हिसाब से there will be rings inside, and that rings can identify or tell us that what is the age of that tree. So we have over here that you can determine the age of tree by counting the annual rings, which actually are the xylem rings. The xylem tissue consists of tracheids, vessels, also called tracheary elements, and xylem parenchyma respectively. So these xylem are made up of 3 parts, that is the xylem tracheids, xylem vessels, and xylem parenchyma. So let's see what these are one by one. They are given the figure. You can always go through the figure properly because the figures are very important. This figure is the figure for the magnified view of the xylem, the stem part. So you can see the cambium, then phloem, xylem, everything seen over here. Over here, this is the annual rings, what you can see over here, the schematic of the 3-year-old. So it is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So the 3 annual rings, what you can see here of the cambium. So first one is tracheids. Tracheids are made up of elongated dead cells with large cavities without any content. Okay, they are made up of the dead cells, elongated dead cells, and there were large cavity in between without any content over there. The cells are placed end to end, forming a long tube. They are highly lignified cell walls. They provide mechanical support by developing various types of thickening in their walls. So what happens is, if this is one cell, then that cell will have a lot of lignin content on that, so that becomes very firm and it is having a very good support. The other one will be just on top of it, and the other one will be just on top of it. ऐसे करके they will be just one above the other, so that they are able to have a conductive form. So the large cavity without any content in it and highly lignified, and they provide support to the by developing various types of thickenings in the walls. But this doesn't contain water in it. So this is a xylem vessel or a trachea are the long tube-like structures meant for transporting water. So the xylem vessel is the one which is going to have the valve. The trachea is just a supporting part. The xylem vessel is the part which is going to be the one. So the xylem vessel or trachea are long tube-like structures meant for transporting water and dissolved minerals. They are made up of elongated cells placed end to end. They are made up of elongated cells placed end to end, and their cell walls are quite hard, thick and lignified. Transverse walls, that is this wall over here and over here, ये transverse wall is gone. Okay, transverse will get dissolved and make a continuous water pipe. So here when it is this way, now if this would not be there, then it is hollow. This is not there, so it's hollow. So hollow parts combine each other to form a long tube. So that's why xylem vessel is the one through which the water is going to be transported from one end to another end. Lastly is xylem parenchyma. Parenchyma, the parenchyma cells, which was a supporting one. So here also the xylem required some support, which is done with the help of parenchyma. Also storage of food, as I told you earlier. Xylem parenchyma consists of living parenchyma cells associated with the xylem. These cells serve for the storage of food, sugar and starch, and also helps in the conduction of water and minerals. So this is how the xylem parenchyma supports the xylem by storage of food and also for helping in the conduction of water and minerals. So this was about the xylem, which contained the tracheids, xylem vessels and xylem parenchyma. We move on to the next one, that is the phloem. Phloem cells provide a passage in the downward movement of food manufactured in the leaves. So it is the food what is manufactured in the leaves, that is going to go downwards and go into the lower part of the plant. That is going to take place through the phloem. So phloem is the one which is going to allow the food to get transferred from one place to another place. They also provide for upward movement of the prepared food towards the growing new leaves. So it is not necessary that phloem is just going to allow the food to go downwards. It may happen that some of the food may go upwards also, because there are growing leaves on top over there. So these cells which are there on the topmost part, the apical part, the terminal part, they are the one where they will require some food. So this is also going to be given to, the food will be given to them by the phloem vessels or the phloem tissues. They also provide upward movement of the prepared food towards the growing leaves, new leaves. The phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cell, phloem parenchyma cells and phloem fibers. So there are 4 different parts of phloem. There were 3 parts in xylem. There are 4 parts in phloem. What are those parts? Let's see one by one. Sieve tubes, made up of elongated cells placed end to end forming a long tube. The transverse walls are perforated and called sieve plates. So here what happens is that this is one tube, this is another tube, long tube, but here this part is not completely gone, but it has got perforation, means it will be like this. ऐसा करके यहाँ पे ऐसे holes रहेंगे. What are these? These are the sieve tubes. You know what is a sieve? Chutney. Okay. So that chutney, similar over here, there is a sieve tube. The tube has got, so this will be like this. This whole tube is there. So at every particular point, there will be such sieves over here, which is going to block the movement of the food directly down, but in breaking it in parts so that it can go even laterally. So the transverse walls are perforated, called the sieve plates. They help in the transport of food from leaves to organs and other parts of the plant. So it is the sieve tubes which is going to allow or help the transport of food from leaves to the storage organs. What are storage organs? Maybe a fruit. Okay. Sometimes the fruit is the storage organ. So that's a fruit and other parts of the plant. The next is companion cells. Living parenchyma cells closely associated with the tubes. To associate with the sieve tubes are closely parenchyma cells. These parenchyma cells are the companion cells. So parenchyma, living parenchyma cells closely associate with the sieve tubes. They help in the functioning of sieve tube cells. So sieve tube cells require some kind of nutrition, some kind of storage. So all that support to the sieve tubes will be given by this kind of companion cells. So they are parenchyma cells connected to sieve tubes. But apart from that, there is also phloem parenchyma. So parenchymatous tissues found associated with phloem. So the whole phloem के साथ में associated जो है, parenchyma cells associated with the whole phloem. Okay, not just the sieve tubes, but the whole phloem in all is called as the phloem parenchyma. Mainly concerned with storage of starch, fats and other organic food material. So the parenchyma cells in the phloem, they are the ones which are going to be associated with the storage of the foodstuffs. So storage of starch, storage of the fats and storage of organic food material. Everything is going to be done in the phloem parenchyma. The next is the last one, phloem fibers. Fibers, we need it for support. So, sclerenchymatous cells, we see that thing. The moment you hear a sclerenchyma over here, it means support is the main thing. So, here, phloem fiber is a kind of a support. We learned earlier also, fibers are the one which is making the hemp and the linen, and the other is stone. So, here we say about fibers. So, the fibers are the one which are going to give support. So, sclerenchymatous tissue found associated with phloem, they mainly provide support. Okay, so these are the 4 kinds of the phloem, parts of the phloem, that is sieve tubes, then that is companion cells, then there is the parenchyma, that is a phloem parenchyma, and finally is phloem fibers. So these are the 4 parts of the phloem. The xylem and phloem collectively form the vascular bundles. So it is combining this and this forms the conductive tissue, also called as the vascular bundles. The veins of the leaves are examples of vascular bundles. They are in continuity with the conductive tissues of roots and stem. So you can see what is the main idea of the plant taking in water. Plant takes in water from the roots, takes it to the xylem. Xylem brings it upwards, takes it to the leaves. Why? Because the leaves are going to use the water which is present in the leaf and take in carbon dioxide from the air and combine it with the help of photosynthesis to form glucose and for producing food by photosynthesis. So water is the main ingredient of or you can say raw material for photosynthesis. So you can see that the passage of water from the root to the leaves is going to be the phloem, will be the xylem. So automatically the leaves has got the xylem vessels, that is nothing but the vascular bundle. What is the next part what the leaf is going to do? Leaf is going to produce food. And what has happened to that food? That food is going to be transferred downwards and go to the different parts of the plants where photosynthesis is not taking place and which requires nutrition. So all these places the food is going to go. So leaf becomes that particular part which has got xylem as well as phloem. Hence the leaf is a vascular bundle because leaf contains both these xylem and phloem. That's why leaf is a vascular bundle. They are continuity in the conducting tissue of stem and root. The above two tissues, xylem and phloem, are also termed as complex tissues, being made up of more than one type of cell working together as a unit. So you can see xylem and phloem, they were made up of three. This was made up of 3 kinds. This was made up of 4 types. That's why these are called as complex tissues, as they are made up of more than one kind of cells. Because they are made up of more than one type of cells to do a particular function, that's why they are called as complex tissues. So overall, we can consider that summary of the plant cell. We have got plant tissues are made up of 2 types, meristematic and permanent. Meristematic, actively dividing cells found at all growing points. Permanent tissues, non-dividing cells, particular shape and permanent functions. The permanent tissues further divided into protective, supportive and conductive. The protective are simple epidermis at surface of the roots, stems and leaves. Protective, which are made up of parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma is soft filling plant part, plant tissue which is a soft filling part. Collenchyma, elongated, thickened cells, and sclerenchyma, thickened, lignified cell wall. So that is the kind of the 3 supportive tissues. Then comes the conductive tissue, that is xylem and phloem. Xylem, water conducting, tracheas, long spindle shaped, dead cells, vessels, cylindrical cells, end walls open, and xylem, parenchyma. That is xylem. Phloem, food conducting, sieve tubes join end to end through clusters of pores, companion cells, and phloem, parenchyma. So this are the total number of different most important kind of tissues present in the plants. So that was about the plant tissue. We will stop here and take up the animal tissue in the next video next week.